Uh, Hi, my name is Gregor Szymański, and I'm here sitting with a professor from Baruch College. Could you introduce yourself?
I'm Pamela Thielman. I'm a professor of theater.
Hello, nice to meet you, Professor. I'm really happy that you could attend this interview.
My pleasure.
So I'll ask first a very easy question: how often do you use the internet, and what applications do you usually use?
I use the internet all the time. Unfortunately, I have a smartphone, so that means I use my internet kind of in every free moment. I get up in the morning, I check things, I go to work, I'm checking in throughout the day. I try to turn off the internet for myself around 11 o'clock, but it depends. And I really am using mostly email. Statistically, most people use, that's the largest sort of application that people use. I am very much within that. I'm mostly concerned with my various work projects, so I'm mostly on email, but I get my news that way as well. I check New York Times in the morning. I also check various websites that have feminist interest. That's one of my areas of interest, so I tend to check websites that are going to have stories relating to gender issues on a daily basis that have news basically that would be gendered or have a gendered application. And I read lots of film and theater and museum reviews as well. So it's also a cultural conduit for me. And I guess if you're counting Netflix, it's also how I
Of
get my
course,
TV.
yes, sure. How about social media? Twitter, Facebook, do you use those things?
I have an extremely limited social media presence. That's a specific choice that I've made for myself. I am on social media related to CUNY, so like Open CUNY, and I have a LinkedIn profile that's fairly recent actually. I didn't for a long time, I resisted it, but I am not on Twitter, and I am not actually on Facebook. I do not use Facebook.
That's surprising. Uh, so I'll this concludes to our next question that will really fit the topic. So, how much do you value your privacy in the age of data collection and sharing?
So, as you can imagine, one of the reasons I'm not on Facebook is that I value my privacy a great deal. Um, I am married to someone who's in the advertising uh, media. He reports on advertising, so I have a fairly insider view about how private information is collected and then sold to media companies and other businesses as a consumer product. And I'm really suspicious of that. I think my purchasing habits, my lifestyle habits, my interests shouldn't necessarily be bought by someone unless I'm getting the profit. And one of the things that Facebook does that bothers me, and one of the reasons I'm not interested in being a Facebook user at this point, is that the users are the product of Facebook, right? If I put my information out there and I say what movies I like or what I've gone to see or who my friends are, that information is being sold to someone and I'm getting no profit out of that. So if I'm going to sell my privacy, I want to make money off of it.
Of course, I
So
understand. But on the other hand, you probably are aware, everyone is aware that all those services that we use are free, and one of the reasons why they're free is because such companies like Google gain their revenue through advertising revenue. So you are aware that somehow Google needs that privacy of yours, right?
absolutely. And Google it's something that I say, well, I don't use Facebook because of privacy issues, but I use Google all the time. That is really the central organizing tool of my life, or Google's suite of tools. And I do know that they're tracking me, and I think it's always funny when the Google AdSense, something shows up based on something I've looked at or researched, and I understand there's a trade-off there.
And you are aware that the problem isn't only about Facebook, Google, which are the biggest companies in the industry, but mostly a lot of companies now not only companies, also the government, for let's say security reasons, they tend to check our private information and you're aware that that's not the problem only of Facebook and Google, right?
Absolutely. I'm also uncomfortable with government oversight of these things. I understand why it needs to happen, but I do think I'm aware of it and it makes me uncomfortable.
So I'll probably repeat a little bit myself and what you just said, but just to be sure and clear, do you tend to ignore or, I'll state it like this. Are you wary of companies? I mean, you are, of course you are, but do you tend to ignore this in return of convenience, or where's the border where you're ready to use those applications and services in exchange for some part of your privacy, and where's the border where you say no, I will not allow this to happen?
Well, I think it's kind of somewhere between Google and Facebook, honestly, for me, because I do trade away some of my privacy so that I can have that great Google Calendar that I can, share with people and be able to keep schedules with other people. I love my Gmail. It's a better service than the Yahoo Mail I was using before. It's better than, other kinds of things that I've used. So I'm willing to trade away some of my privacy to Google because I'm really getting tools that make my life easier. So in that sense, but with Facebook, I feel like, I can call or email my friends. I can text my friends. If people need to find me, my parents have lived in the same reasonably small town for a long time. People can actually call the number I had when I was 12 and find me if somebody from my past life really has to tell me something. So I don't feel like I'm getting enough or being offered enough from Facebook to trade away my privacy to them. So it has to do with what I'm getting in return. With Google, I feel like I'm getting enough that helps me live my life in a more organized fashion. So that's the trade-off I know that I'm making every day when I get on Google and use it as my search engine or use, Google Maps to find something. I know they're tracking my location, and now they know I've looked up, a particular museum or restaurant.
Of course, yes. The next question is more about, we discussed how important information are for the social media companies and basically everyone who is on the internet. Now we'll just switch the sides and talk all about a little bit how do users behave, and how did our lives change because of an internet. So I'll ask something that was mentioned in Zadie Smith article. Do you agree with the author Zadie Smith when she reflects on matters of privacy that the idea of personhood is certainly changing, perhaps already has changed?
I do agree with that because I think, I get an incredible reaction from people when I say I'm not on Facebook, as though I'm not fully engaging in human social life by not having a Facebook page. So I think it's having the internet and having a place where you can be public in disembodied space, right? You can be friends with people that you don't see for years and years and years and never have a conversation with them. You can have no crossover in your life and still be considered friends. I think that's a real difference in the way that we interact socially, and so that has implications for personhood. We're no longer concerned, or we're a lot less concerned with physical presence than we used to be. And certainly going back into the oldest periods, as soon as we had writing, you could be friends or have communication with people who were not in your physical presence. You could write them a letter. But with the internet, and particularly with social media, we now have a way to really be in each other's lives without ever seeing this other person. And I think that does change how you define yourself. It defines, your presence is your person. So if you can say, I can be present to my family in Shanghai and, Budapest and, Bogota, Colombia, and New York all at the same time, you've changed the way you're defining yourself as a person.
But are these, because I'm still a little bit concerned. But are these changes, in your opinion, going in the good way or in the bad way?
I think both. I think you have to acknowledge with technology, it's always good and bad. I don't think there's such a thing as unequivocally good anything. So, I love that you can be a part of people's lives more easily. I mean, Skype is a great example of something that I think is fantastic. For friends that I have that live elsewhere, it's a way that I interact with people that's not Facebook. So that's great. It's great to be able to feel more connected. At the same time, I'm not sure that's real connection. And so I have real questions about whether it's good that we, for example, I don't know if it's good that I get up and check my email. I don't know if it matters if somebody was up at 2 o'clock in the morning and wanted to ask me a question about something.
Yes.
That changes the way I live my life. It makes me constantly available in a way that's very scary, and I think maybe doesn't contribute to peace of mind. So I think those kinds of little invasions into our personal time that technology make possible can be bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of agree because also during our English class, one of the biggest worries that we read about in different articles is that we are degrading ourselves through the use of technology, even though we have access to all our friends, colleagues. Those aren't real relationships. Because how can you say about someone that he's your friend only based on a button on Facebook that he's your friend or you like what he does, right? So
Yeah.
is this something really that's meaningful? And that's one of the concerns.
One of the things that's interesting is before Facebook, before sort of social media in its current incarnation, there were other sites built on this principle. And one of the earlier sites, and the name is totally escaping me right now, but you had the option to like or dislike something. And I think the notion that Facebook only gives you the option to like something does degrade something about personal connection, because relationships don't all work that way. You like some things. You don't like something or are totally neutral. Mm-hmm. You can hate something. You should, I think, there's a movement in the discussion of social media among people who have been around a little longer who are saying, you should be able to say, I hate this on Facebook. I think this is stupid on Facebook, in addition to liking, because liking gets meaningless if you can apply it to your favorite cereal and somebody who you want to have a meaningful relationship with.
Mm-hmm. And this brings us to the last question. We talk in general how people are changing through the use of social media and internet. Can you give, you already did a little bit, but now after my question, can you give any examples how might your own experience, your own personality changed through the use of internet?
Well, one of the things that I think is really strange behavior that happens on with the internet is you can now. It seems very normal to people to, they call it sort of stalking someone, and I don't mean that in the sort of criminal sense, but I do, there are ways to invade people's privacy now that did not exist before, and it's really impacted my decision to be on social media, because as a younger person, I had someone who was an acquaintance, not someone I knew well, who felt compelled to get to know me without actually getting to know me, and did, found out everything, about, my college life and things, various things using the internet. Because in those days, it was not MySpace. What was the other thing? Well, it was, y'all probably won't remember things like this, but there were other social media sites before Facebook. And so you could find out a lot, and I had what was to me at that time as a sort of young woman a frightening experience where somebody came into my life suddenly knowing a lot about me. And this was somebody that I had not given permission, but basically, and it wasn't, person wasn't out to get me. This person wasn't out to hurt me. But it was very sobering to realize that I was existing. I had a personhood. I had an existence on the internet that I wasn't aware of. So that was a real turning point for me in my relationship with media and privacy, to sort of think about, what does it mean to have a life on the internet? What does it mean to have a digital presence, and to really pull back and say, I only want these kinds of people to be able to contact me. I only want these kinds of people to be able to know more than, maybe where I work or where I went to school. Those things are always going to be public. You can always kind of find out, where I got my undergraduate degree, where I got my graduate degree. It's out there. But more than that, I think we need to be more thoughtful about what it means to have a life on the internet. And for me, the experience of having someone who, today we would sort of laughingly call it Google stalking, but that's what happened. And it was disturbing enough to make me think a lot and think critically about information, what's out there, and how I want to control it, and that I do definitely want to control it.
Yes, thank you. And well, definitely your fears are not ludicrous, because even though from all my own experience with these interviews right now, I know that many younger generations are not aware of such kind of things. They think only that our privacy and our private information is used only for advertising campaigns, and that's how companies basically make money. Actually, that is not the case anymore, and your fears are definitely reasonable, and that's why what I fear about, that more and more companies are using it in another way. And for example, what I learned during the semester is that there are such companies that hire so-called data brokers who research, find, and basically mine the internet in search for specific information that another person is willing to pay for. And that's one of the fears, because one of the most famous cases are that insurance companies are often doing it to find out if their customer is healthy enough for them to approach them with some kind of insurance policy, and if not, they probably will reject him because of that. And that's one of the most recent problems. But we're starting to live in a world where actually anyone might gain access to the information that we probably wouldn't like to share with anyone else. And my biggest concern is, for example, while searching for a job, looking for a job, my biggest nightmare is when I'll be at an interview and my boss will say that, unfortunately, even though I have the skills to do the job, he won't hire me because I had, for example, a bad argument with my girlfriend. He doesn't like such situations, and he doesn't. He will not hire such kind of person, and basically that's not what I actually. I'm just lost at the end.
No, but that's a real, as someone who has worked with human resources in my lifetime in a nonprofit situation, people do, there are no laws yet about that. There are laws about what you can't look at. You couldn't mine the internet for, say, religious affiliation. But if you Google somebody and you find, as a human resources person, that somebody, say, has expressed an opinion that you disagree with, that can color your decision. And there aren't yet protections for people, legally speaking. So it's it's weird, but it's true. It can happen.
And this basically, those data brokers are proof that this is becoming a much bigger problem than just companies trying to gain money through advertising revenue. Okay, so thank you very much for your answers. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a nice day.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
No problem.
My name is Gregory Szymański, and I'm sitting here with a beautiful young lady. Could you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Londi Alvarez and I'm here because I am being interviewed.
And what's your status in this college?
I am a sophomore.
Okay, great, thank you. So I'll start with this question. How much do you value your privacy in the age of data collection and sharing?
Well, actually, I value my privacy a lot. I believe that, you need time for yourself and you need time to get to know yourself, and you don't need to be connected 24/7. I think that there are times when, certain things are to stay private and they are not to be told to the entire world. Because, it's your life.
I understand, but do you really need privacy to express yourself? What's the connection between these two for you?
Well, I mean, yes, I do feel that, you need privacy sometimes. I mean, nowadays with, all social media and, social networks and all of that, I feel that people, tend to express and put everything, in the internet when there are certain things that, should be kept to yourself. I mean, not everything has to be told to the entire universe, especially, when it's your life. And, sometimes I'm on Facebook and I see, I'm going through the news feed and then I'm reading things that I'm just like, why is this there,
So what actually privacy, what's your definition of privacy? What are you willing to share and what not?
I feel that, okay, to me, privacy, it means, that something is personal, it's personal, and it doesn't have to be posted so everywhere so people can see it. I feel that for instance, yes, I understand, if you're going out with your friends and you want to let people know where you are, then okay. But for example, if you got into a big fight with your mom or something, and I feel like personal issues should stay private, personal, should be only you should know about them, not the whole world, so that they can feel pity for you or sorry for you. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay, so we definitely know right now that you value your privacy. So, are you wary of companies recording and sharing your personal information, or do you tend to ignore this in return for convenience, or you have no idea and you still maybe think that everything you post on the internet is still private and only you decide who and when there's people going to see it?
I mean, I am aware of the fact that my personal information is being shared by different companies and is basically all over the internet. Yes, I'm aware of that. And I am aware that, basically once you sign up or to one of those websites, basically you have no more privacy because basically everything about you is known. Now, personally, I guess, we are young people, and I feel that, we really don't pay attention to those things when we're using the internet. I feel that, we're kind of more worried about, being connected with other people, that oftentimes we don't really pay attention to whether or not our information is being shared or whether or not we have privacy or not. Me personally, I have to say that when I really don't pay attention to that and I really don't care, even though I know that my information is being shared, and I mean all those companies are basically making money out of me because by sharing that information, they're actually making money. So yes, I'm aware of that, but I guess my priority is being connected. So.
But do you ever become afraid of the idea that there might be some people who will use your information and, let's say, not in advertising and making money off of it, but in some other bad intentions that might affect your life?
Yes, actually, sometimes I actually think about that, and I watch the show Catfish, and I see people who make fake um, profiles, and they use basically pictures from people who are real people, and it does scare me because sometimes I'm thinking to myself, what if you know out there in the world, there's someone who basically making a fake profile with my pictures. It does worry me, but at the same time, I'm not really concerned about it. Um, because, like I said, I guess my priorities been connected, so it's not a big worry to me.
Understand. Thank you. Now, I have another question. Do you agree with the author Zadie Smith when she reflects on matters of privacy that the idea of personhood is certainly changing, perhaps already has changed? And how might that be interpreted in your own experience?
Well, actually, I like that line actually because I do agree with her. I do believe that personhood is changing, you know, really quickly nowadays. And I mean, when I watch movies from the early 1900s and 1960s and things like that. It's funny because I see how people used to interact during that time. They used to socialize and talk to each other. Nowadays, you can see a difference because even when I'm on the train, and you look around and everyone's on their phone. There's no people don't speak to each other anymore. It's like their phones have taken over and they just interact with their phones. And me, I'm not gonna lie, personally, my phone is like I will never leave the house without my phone. My phone is like a big part of me, and yeah, I mean, sometimes we forget to socialize with each other and interact, and I think that it's sad that things are changing and the way they're going. And I feel like if things keep going this way, then one day I guess there's not going to be any more interaction anymore. Everything's going to be technology, phones, social media, and social networks, and that's how things are changing now.
But generally, do you value more the positive side that these technologies are providing, or the negative side that you already mentioned that there's less and less interaction between people, or maybe there is because still you can communicate with people that you don't even often see on a daily basis. You can talk basically to people all over the world. Don't you agree that this side of the technology might be even more influential, stronger than the bad side of it?
Actually, I have to say that I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go with the negatives or the positives because I feel that technology does have a good side. I mean, like I said before, you're able to connect with millions of people around the world. And me right now, I'm learning a language, and I'm learning French, and I have a friend in France, and we talk all the time, and he helps me and I help him. So I feel like that's a huge, that's something really positive that technology, positive effect that technology has had in the world. And yes, I mean, like I said, it has really, and even homework, assignments. We go to the internet, it's like I said, really good for. It has had a really good impact in society, but at the same time, it has also had like a negative impact. And I mean, like all things, it has positives and negatives.
Okay. So I have this last questions that will hopefully sum things up. In the general perspective and based on your current awareness of what companies do with your information that you post on the internet, on the web, do you feel that sharing your part of your privacy is worth for what you get back? Basically all those applications, websites that enhance your life.
Personally, I think that nothing is worth your privacy. I think your privacy is one of those things that you can exchange for anything. However, I feel that you kind of have to give it up if you want to be connected and in touch with. You want to be in touch with people around the world. I feel that it's something that you have to give up. because there's no way you're gonna get privacy, by posting your information all over the web. Yeah, so you're kind of exchanging your privacy for being connected. So there is no way around that.
So you basically gave up, and you just go with the flow, or you agree that the current situation is fair?
Well, I feel like nowadays, it's kind of like just have to go with the flow, because I feel that because you can either keep your privacy and then not being connected, but at the same time I feel that everything revolves around the internet now. Like I feel like there's no way to keep certain things private. I mean, you're using a debit card, you're using a credit card. When you swipe that, I mean, you're exchanging your information, right? So you're exchanging your information, and then for the use of the debit card or credit card, or if you're buying something online, I mean, those are little things that where you're sharing your information. It doesn't have to necessarily be a website. So my thing is, I don't think there's really a way to not give up your personal information. I think you're gonna have to do it sooner or later.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing your time with me. This was Gregor Szymański.
And
Bye.
this was Lonely. Okay. Let's listen to this.
My name is Gregor Szymański, and I'm sitting here with Estefania, who is a Bard College student. And together today we're going to talk a little bit about technology and privacy. Hi Estefania, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
But speak loudly, okay? Just so I hear you.
I'll do it.
Just like you usually do. That's a good start. You smile, laugh, that's good. Feel a little bit more relaxed. So, first of all, what kind of internet technology do you use? For example, I use email, Facebook. I don't use Twitter. I'm not a fan of Twitter. I never got this kind of thing. Why do people tweet stuff? So what kind of applications do you use?
I use Instagram, Facebook, and email.
Instagram, Facebook, and email. Okay.
And Tumblr.
And Tumblr?
Yeah.
What do you use Tumblr for?
Just to see different pictures. I don't know. It's fun.
Okay. And Instagram, do you like to make a lot of pictures?
Yeah, I guess.
And pictures of what?
I guess some friends and handbags.
Handbags. Okay.
Yeah. And shoes. I like that.
Really? Yeah, you have like really nice shoes today.
Thank you.
As I said, I like your outfit today, so it's very nice. And Facebook, what do you use Facebook for? Also for pictures, or do you chat a lot with?
No, I didn't mostly talk to my family.
Through Facebook?
Yeah, because they're away, so I can talk to them anytime through there.
Okay.
That's all.
That's interesting. I thought usually you use Skype. Don't you use Skype for talking with your
No, 'cause I
parents,
don't
or
have-
not parents, family generally?
I don't have the time to sit and just have video chat,
Mm-hmm.
So on Facebook I can just send a quick message and we're in touch. It's fun.
Okay. And why aren't you in touch with me when I text you?
I don't know.
Hey, that's not an answer. Come on.
Is this supposed to be on the interview?
What? No, I'm not recording yet, so we're just having a general chat about technology, right?
Okay.
And so I'll ask you one more time this question. How much do you value your privacy in this age of data collection and sharing?
I think if you put it out there, it's because you want people to see it, If you really wanted privacy, then you wouldn't touch Facebook or, any of that stuff.
Okay, I understand. So, but still, do you value your privacy, or do you feel that just posting some random pictures on the Facebook doesn't have to do anything with your privacy.
No, because if I post it, it means I want people to see it. So why would I claim for privacy when I'm doing this myself? You know, I'm posting it out there for people to see it.
Okay, but still there has to be some kind of line where you say, no, I'm not gonna share it with all the people I have on Facebook. Is there any such kind of line, or do you treat like Facebook and your friends on Facebook like an open book that you're willing to show everything from your life?
No, of course I put it from like the people close to me. I think privacy is whatever you do at home with your family, with your friends. That's your privacy. Posting pictures, if you're careful, then I don't see a problem.
Okay, so you don't mind, basically you don't mind companies using the kind of information that you share on the internet. You don't mind them using it for commercial reasons, right?
No, I don't mind it because anyways, they will, if I like shoes, they will send me more shoes, you know, more advertising for shoes, which I'm interested in.
So this kind of answered the second question, but I'll ask it one more time to be specific. Are you wary of companies recording and sharing your personal information, or do you tend to ignore this in return for convenience? So do you think the convenience that all those kind of applications, social media websites provide, is it worth sharing your privacy with the companies?
I don't mind. It's not anything so private, you know.
But what would I tell you? What would you say if I told you that those companies often try to analyze your information and predict other stuff from your life? Let's say, for example, well, I'm not gonna give you an exact example, but let's say those companies also try to find out stuff about you that you willingly you don't share with people on the internet. Doesn't that make you afraid a little bit? Scared?
No, I don't think so. What could be so bad? I mean, no.
Okay. But what, for example, scares me the most is a world where, for example, anyone who is willing to pay enough money would find about me stuff that I usually don't share with people, like where I've been, what are my religious opinions about the world, political views, religious views, and, for example, a boss who would like to hire me finds out about this stuff, decides that after all it's not worth hiring me just because of that, what he found on the internet. Aren't you afraid of such kind of world?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if it interferes with your professional life, then I guess, you know. So, but I think it's everybody's responsibility on their own to be careful and see what they post, see what they like, you know.
Okay, I understand. So I'll ask another question, a little bit different this time, because it's about our own characters and how they change in the age of internet. So, do you agree with the author Zadie Smith when she reflects on matters of privacy that the idea of personhood is certainly changing, perhaps already has changed? Do you agree with this opinion?
Yeah, I agree.
And in what way do you agree with it? How do you see this in your own lives? How does our personhood change while using the internet?
I guess because, like I said before, you see everybody else having this great life, maybe, and you're just at home wondering, oh my God, why am I here? Or the friends, or the places they go to. I mean, they look like they have a rich life, but you never see them working or going to school. You know, it's like,
it's a little bit depressing, right?
yeah, and it's weird because you're like, what am I doing wrong? You know, you're just sitting at home doing homework, and these people are going all over the world. They have 3-4 careers.
Really?
But and then what else? Yeah, so you're just scrolling all day and you don't even read a book anymore because it's not as interesting, I guess.
So we get a little bit. You think that we also get a little bit addicted to this?
Definitely, yeah. And it's easier, you have so much information through images that you get lazy, and just waste your time there.
Okay. To sum up what you just said, we feel like we are degrading ourselves, right? Just because we focus less on ourselves, on our lives, and doing real things, and we focus more on what we see on Facebook, on other websites, and we somehow are stuck in this dream that people are doing better than us, right? That's how you feel?
Or you're either obsessed with yourself, it's crazy how people is obsessed with themselves nowadays, or you are obsessed about someone else, their lives, their easy money,
So you answered a little bit of it, but I'll have to ask you this question. How might that, what Zadie Smith talks about, how might that be interpreted in your own experience? So can you give any examples? How internet changed your life? In what kind of way? And your life and your character and your personality?
I guess before when I was younger, I didn't use the internet as much, and I was in all these blogs and pictures, I used to read a lot of books, encyclopedias. I would read Shakespeare when I was like 7, or all this crazy stuff when I was really young, and now I don't even do it anymore, and it's sad,
Because
that it affected me in that way. I don't.
But do you think it's because of the internet?
Yeah, because I like it. I use it a lot now. And you just read. Let's say you have a project or something. You look for the answer, target it. That's it. That's all you read. Meanwhile, before I used to take the encyclopedia and like 20 books and just read a lot of stuff to get one answer. I don't know. I miss that.
Okay, so from what we've discussed, I can tell that you definitely have a very grim idea about the internet, but are there any good sides that you experienced?
Good sides. You have a lot of information that you can reach out to. You don't necessarily have to go and buy books or everything is right there for you to know. Whatever you wanted to know about. Everything is faster. That's it.
What about your friends? You probably have some friends in Colombia, don't you? Doesn't the internet help you stay in touch with them, even though you don't meet them that often?
No, not for so long. Because like friendships, they're more like we're together, we go do stuff together, we share time. It's not about messaging all the time. And it's been like 4 years. So who's gonna keep in touch with a friend? Yeah. But as long as family and friendships and all that, I don't think internet helps at all.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you have a very interesting view. Thank you for talking with me about this stuff, and probably see you next time.
Okay, thank you.
You see, you didn't do that bad.
Hi, so what's your name, age, and major?
My name is David Morgan, my age is 28, and my major is marketing management.
So how much do you value your privacy in this age of data collection and sharing?
No matter data collection or anything else like that, I always valued my privacy, and it seems like it's being encroached on almost every time I download a new app or go on a new social networking site.
So why, if you know it's being encroached on, why do you keep doing it?
The benefits outweigh the, so to speak, penalties of getting my information and stuff like that. So I value the service more than I value the terms and conditions, which I really don't read.
So you'd agree that you tend to ignore, the fact that companies are recording and sharing your personal information in return for convenience?
I don't tend to ignore it. Overall, I mean, there'll be some times where I don't want to allow a certain app to access my Facebook profile or stuff like that, or my friends list. So it really does take a matter of weighing the benefits.
Okay. So do you agree with the author Zadie Smith when she reflects on matters of privacy and that the idea of personhood is certainly changing, perhaps has already changed?
Definitely. Over the years growing up, the internet wasn't as powerful as it is now, and social networking sites weren't as prevalent in social society. So, yeah, I definitely agree.
And how might that be interpreted in your own experience?
In my own experience, I guess it would be interpreted as not reading the terms and conditions or allowing people to look at my Facebook information.
Thank you.
Done Spanish.
Okay. So what's your name?
Geraldine Brion,
Age?
26,
Major?
international business.
Okay, so how much do you value your privacy in this age of data collection and sharing?
So in terms of data, when it comes to things like my name or my age or race, I don't really care about sharing things like that. But when it comes to more personal things like credit card information, things like that, I'm a lot more wary as to where I put that in. So if there's like an app that wants to link to my Facebook, I don't really care about that much, just because I feel like there's information there, but it's not like really private information that I would be scared of sharing with anybody.
So do you ignore that companies record and share your information for convenience?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, if there's like a link to, like I said, any sort of information like credit cards or social security, things like that, no, 'cause those are more important. But Facebook stuff or things like that, I don't really mind.
Do you agree with the author Zadie Smith when she reflects on matters of privacy, that the idea of personhood is certainly changing, perhaps has already changed?
So in terms of personhood and how, I guess, one-on-one communication with people, it definitely has changed. People nowadays, they focus more on technology and computers and phones to talk and not really face-to-face.
So how might that be interpreted in your own experience?
So for example, at work, I'm way more likely to email somebody than call them or set up some sort of meeting. I just feel like for me it's fast. Well, it might not be faster, but it's easier to interpret their wording. Sometimes if you're talking one-on-one, you might misinterpret it and then you go back and it's wrong. In an email, it's just clear-cut. And so for me, it's easier to communicate in words than face-to-face.
All right, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I'm 24 years old. I'm a junior. My major is accounting.
So how much do you value your privacy in this age of data collection and sharing?
I value it a lot, but I realized after talking about this topic that not so much with the whole terms and conditions. I mean, we have all this social media and we put everything out there, and I noticed that I also as well put pictures and I put up status or I put up anything on Facebook or Instagram, and it doesn't seem so.
Okay. Are you wary of companies recording and sharing your personal information, or do you tend to ignore this in return for the convenience?
That's difficult, but
so do you ignore it?
I do ignore it to a certain extent. I do ignore it. I mean, if I need to get something through the internet, or if it's easy for me to get something, yeah, I'm gonna just do what I need to do to get it usually.
Do you agree with the author Zadie Smith when she reflects on matters of privacy and the idea that personhood is certainly changing and perhaps has already changed?
Yeah, I do agree with that, because we redefined privacy nowadays. the way privacy was years ago isn't the way we see it today. The way we try to just make our Facebook private, it means nothing. So you have only your friends look at it, it's still out there and people could still see it.
So do you think that people have changed as a whole as a result of social media and data collection, et cetera, et cetera?
I do, because other people see other people's personal lives or personal information when they put it up, whether it's a friend or someone from a distance. If you have everything open, people read this and they take it to their own experience. Maybe you never know how people interact with others' personal lives.
Okay, so how might that be interpreted in your own experience?
I mean, if I put something up of a place I've been to, I definitely know that my friends see it and they'll definitely want to go to the same place I've gone to, or try out a new restaurant, or they'll see a picture of a club and want to go to the same club, and I guess that's basically it. Yeah.
Is there something that's happened that has affected you negatively as far as, sharing information?
Not me personally, but it has affected a couple of my friends negatively, where pictures have gotten out, certain private pictures, and it's been seen on Facebook or Instagram.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so how much do you value your privacy in this age of data collection and sharing, Hannah?
Okay. I like to put things on scales of 1 to 10. So probably on a scale of 1 to 10 where I don't put anything out there at all, and 10 like my whole life is on Facebook, I'm probably a 6.
Okay.
Because I don't mind putting a little bit of information out there, but I do not share my life with like everybody that I'm friends with on social media.
And are you wary of companies recording and sharing your personal information, or you just tend to ignore
Yes,
this in
I
return?
absolutely am worried about it, because they're tracking like everything that I search and everything I'm buying and everything I'm interested in. And so, if I know they're tracking that, I don't know what they're also tracking. And B, I don't know how they intend to use this information, and in years to come, it could be used against me.
Cool. I know you mentioned Facebook. So do you feel also that Facebook is like taking over some people, like even like the meaning of what's a friend? Some people like,
Absolutely.
I have 400.
Yes. And I think it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because it's a good thing because I feel like I am friends with people like virtually through the internet who, like, I know them and I've known them in person in the past, but I'm friends with them in a different light now. And I don't know, it has enabled me to maintain relationships that I wouldn't have otherwise. But I think it takes time from people that could be used on more meaningful activities. And yeah, I just question like the meaningfulness of it in our lives.
Nice. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So, Catherine, how much do you value your privacy in this age of data collection and sharing?
I value my privacy a lot in terms of what I share, especially on the internet. But I think I'm just careful about exactly what it is that I share. Because I have social networks like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, but I'm not really that open on those social networks. So I know a lot of people, they have their accounts set on private. I don't have my account set on private because of the fact that I won't post up pictures or I won't post up comments that I know are inappropriate or that can have a negative effect on my career in the long run.
So are you worried of like these companies that just taking your personal information and like sharing it with who knows who, and or do you tend to like ignore this in return for the convenience that you get out of using for say like apps?
Well, I wouldn't be worried about personal information that companies might potentially share about me because of the fact that there isn't a lot of personal information out there that they can get a hold of. If they were to share information like my social security number, or personal information such as my address and my date of birth. I might be wary about that, but I don't think there's a lot of personal information about me circulating because of the fact that I'm just very careful about what I do put out there.
Okay. Last question. So, do you feel like Facebook has changed how people interact with each other, or like even that it has given a new meaning to a friend or a friendship?
I think it has changed how people interact in both positive and negative ways. Positively, I think it's brought people together who normally don't see each other or who don't have the means of seeing each other. Like my parents, for example, they've connected on Facebook with their relatives who live in a different country. And they're able to see exactly what their relatives are up to these days because of what those relatives post on Facebook. In a negative way, I think Facebook has diminished the personal interactions that people tend to have, like calling someone up on the phone or asking someone to meet up for lunch, because people have become too reliant on Facebook as a terms of socializing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I hate being recorded. I do worry about companies sharing my information. I think it's predatory. I don't necessarily like it, but it's really hard to escape. If you were going to not be a part of this mass media world, you would have to just get rid of your phone, your computer, and everything. So I guess I tend to ignore it in the face of convenience, but I definitely set all of my settings to private. And if I get junk mail, I unsubscribe immediately from things that I don't want to be solicited for. But I don't like it, and it has changed the way that you relate to each other and just even shopping, or I always feel like I'm a constant target for somebody to make money all the time. The other day I was Googling something like flights for our Chicago trip, and I had already unsubscribed from like JetBlue and like all the websites that send you deals. And just by trying to find a flight for us to go to Chicago, the next day I had tons of emails from JetBlue and Southwest and all these other, Kayak was sending me stuff, and Airbnb, and it's not because I went on any of those websites, but it was just because I was looking for a trip, so it feels predatory.
Thank you.
You're welcome.